On August 16, 1924, my father, Paul Judd, was born in Washington, Utah. He was the fourth and youngest child to be born to Joseph Clarence and Mary Ann Weaver Judd. He had an older sister, Nellie, Anna, who died just before her 5th birthday, and his brother, Gene. Their father left home and moved to California before Dad was born. Their sweet mother struggled through the Depression years to care for her family. Grandma had a garden, a few fruit trees, some chickens, and a hog or two they would fatten all year round until it came time to butcher. In fact, just this past month, Dad relived that process during a 45-minute rendition of this event, telling the story in detail. I was always amazed when he told a story because even if it was one I had already heard once or twice, it was a favorite, and it would be told as if it had just happened yesterday. Once in a while, Grandma would let Dad take 2 eggs from the chicken coop and trade it at the store for a candy bar. Grandma would do housework for other women and also left home for several weeks at a time while she would help families when there was sickness, especially new mothers after the birth of their newborn babies. While she was away, Nellie, who was 10 years older than Dad, would care for the boys. Over the years, I have heard stories of these times, mostly from Dad, but Aunt Nellie too, and also Uncle Gene. Grandma later remarried, and during these few years, the children were all happy and grateful when their sister Vanita joined the family. Dad always said she was a bonus to their mother and to them. The children all worked hard to do their part during these difficult times, doing chores for their mother and going to school. Dad was a member of the track team and field team and threw shot put in high school. He was not able to finish high school, leaving early to move to Vegas to get a job to earn money for an operation his mother needed. He was able to get work driving a truck only after he had to lie about his age, which he never got around to changing on his driver's license until he was 73. And Bruce says this is the one and only lie Dad ever admits to telling. He only worked for a short while, and before he enlisted in the service, some friends set him up on a blind date with my mother. While he was gone traveling the world for 3 years aboard a U.S. Navy battleship during World War II, Mom finished her senior year and 2 years at Dixie College. When Dad returned home, as fate would have it, their paths crossed again, and on May 2nd, 1947, they were married in the St. George Temple. They moved to Las Vegas in 1948, where Dad took a job with Clark Dairy. He worked there several years and then took employment with Prime Meats, now known as Vegas Village, then the Church Employment Center, and later went to work for the Stewart Brothers as comptroller of Nevada Rock and Sand, Nevada Ready Mix, and Stewart Brothers. During his time at the Employment Center, and only after a few years they were married, Dad became very ill and was diagnosed with a large tumor. They referred him to care in the Salt Lake City area, where he underwent treatments of radiation. The first treatments lasting close together, and as time went on, the treatments and checkups were more far apart. The checkups lasted for a period of years until the tumor was gone. I know that Dad always considered this clean bill of health a miracle in his life, which supported his very faithful commitment to our Heavenly Father. He and Mom were married 7 years when Bruce Milton Judd was born in October of 1953. Bruce was the oldest of 4 children to be born to the Judd family: Stanley Paul, Mary Darlene, and Gloria Lynn. After I was born and before Gloria was born in 1960, Dad became bishop of the Las Vegas Old Third Ward and with his counselors Wayne Bunker and Gordon Sprague. He served as bishop for approximately 7 years. He was then called as stake president, relieving President Reed Whipple of the Las Vegas stake, and learned of this calling in March of 1970, the same day Grandma Earl passed away. He served in this position for approximately 11 years with counselors Wayne Bunker and Thomas Steffen. It was during this time when my sister Gloria was in an accident and died in April of 1978. He was later called as the stake patriarch for the Meadows Stake and served for approximately 10 years. While Dad was serving as state patriarch, he retired from his full-time job with Nevada Ready Mix and Stewart Brothers Construction. He was retired for a very short time, and he and Mom were called to serve as a mission in the Nevada Las Vegas office for 1 year. After completing their mission, Dad worked as an ordnance worker and sealer in the temple under President Tanner's 3rd year of service. He was then called to serve as a counselor to President Sam Davis for 3 years in the Las Vegas temple. 3 years after they served as counselor, Dad received a phone call from Prophet President Gordon B. Hinckley to be called as the president of the Las Vegas temple, which he did from November 1998 until he became ill and was released in June of 2001. Dad was also a loving grandpa with 12 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren whom he loved dearly. And Dad had also earned a well-respected reputation outside the church community. He served a few years as trustee on the Southern Nevada Memorial Hospital Board. He has also felt honored to be appointed to serve several years on the Nevada State Judicial Committee, which he was very proud to do. He would fly to Carson City every 3rd Monday during the service. He was also asked by Governor Mike O'Callahan to give the opening prayer at his inauguration. These were proud moments for my father. I didn't realize how well known my father was until I went to work in the community, and I would get asked all the time, "Are you any relation to Paul Judd?" And then the people would always be eager to tell me the story of their relationship that they had with him. Later in life, my father would tell the story a little different. He says he would go to the grocery or to the bank, and inevitably the teller would see his name and ask, "Are you in a relation to Bruce Judd?" And so the legacy continues. I was asked recently if I had to choose which trait I admired most about my father, which would it be? This was not hard for me at all. It would be the unconditional love that he had for my mother. Recently, he was asked by a nurse, how long had he been married? Which my dad answered, 54 years. She said, "That's a long time," and Dad said, "Not long enough." This is so sweet and very typical of the loving things he would always say. Dad loved the outdoors, and when I was a very young girl, he built a cabin in southern Utah. As a child, we would go there during the summer every chance Dad could get away. It was about a 4-hour trip one way. On the way home, somewhere between Mesquite and Las Vegas, the radio wouldn't come in, so Dad would sing love songs to my mother, mostly songs from 20 years previous to that present time. Sometimes Mom would be awake, but mostly not. But he did not care. He would sing every word, never missing a verse. I will never forget that. During the years before and after their mission, they would travel with friends in their motorhome. Dad loved seeing other parts of the country, and we have even heard some pretty amusing stories of their times. The most tender part for me is that my son, who just turned 3 in August, will have few memories. But through me and my mother, and through our family, I know that Hayden will know him. Dad, I love you. And I miss you until we meet again.